Welcome back to the Classical Liberal Arts Academy's Petty School Reading Program. In this lesson, we'll continue our study of language and reading in the classical tradition. Let's go ahead and get started. In the last lesson, we learned about the Latin vowels. We learned about the vowel A, the vowel E, the vowel E, the vowel O, and the vowel U. These are the 5 Latin vowels. We learned that vowels are sounds made with the voice. Vowels are sounds made with the voice and the voice alone. We learned that when we look at all the Latin letters, 5 of them are vowels. Do you remember the name of the vowel in the red box? It was A. How about the yellow box? That was E. What was the name of the vowel in the green box? It was E. And the orange box? That was O. And how about the blue box? That vowel was U. We learned that the 5 Latin vowels are A, E, O, and U. But what about the rest of the letters? What are they? The rest of the Latin letters are not vowels. They're called consonants. All of the letters in the blue boxes are consonants. Consonants are sounds that must be spoken with a vowel. Consonants are sounds that must be spoken with a vowel. A consonant can never be spoken alone in speech. It must be sounded with a vowel. Before we learn our first consonant, let's review our vowels. Point to the green dot and look carefully at this Latin vowel. Do you remember the name of this Latin vowel? This is the vowel A, and it makes the sound ah. Point to the green dot under this vowel. Do you remember the name of this vowel? This was the Latin vowel E. E. Point to the green dot under this vowel. This was the Latin vowel E. E. Point to the green dot under this vowel. This was the Latin vowel O. O. and point to the green dot under this last Latin vowel. Do you remember the name of this Latin vowel? This was the Latin vowel oo. Ooh. In our last lesson, we also learned that words are made of syllables. Words are made of syllables. And we looked at the word mama and said mama is made of two syllables, ma and ma. And lastly, we learned that syllables are made of letters. We looked at the syllable ma and said it's made of the letters M and A. Letters make syllables, and syllables make words. Now let's begin our study of Latin consonants. The first Latin consonant that we're going to learn is the Latin consonant B. Point to the blue box on your screen and look carefully at the letter. This is the Latin consonant B. Point to the green dot on your screen under the letter and look carefully at this letter. This is the Latin consonant B. Any time that we see the consonant B in Latin, we read B, B. The Latin consonant B represents the sound B, B. If we place the consonant B after the Latin vowel A, we make a syllable. But how do we read a syllable? It's very easy. First, we make the sound of the first letter, A, and then we make the sound of the second letter, B. A, B. Point to the green dot under the vowel A. Now, make the sound of the letter A. Ah. Slide your finger along the arrow and finish with the sound of the letter B. B. Now we simply put them together. A, B. A, B. That's how we read a syllable. It's very simple. Let's try reading another syllable. We're going to begin with the vowel A and finish with the consonant B. The vowel A makes the sound A, and the consonant B makes the sound B. We're going to point to the dot under the vowel A and continue the sound along the arrow until we finish with the sound of the consonant B. B. Ready? Let's try. A, B. A, B. That is your second syllable. Now let's try another syllable. Here, we're going to start with the Latin vowel E and finish with the sound of the Latin consonant B. B. Point to the green dot under the vowel E. Ready? E-B. 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 Let's read another syllable. Here, we're going to begin with the Latin vowel O and finish with the consonant B. We're going to begin with O and finish with B. Ready? Point to the green dot under the O, and let's begin. O-B. 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 Let's read one more syllable, and then we'll work a little with our fingers. Here, we're going to start with the Latin vowel oo and finish with the sound of the Latin consonant B, which is B. Point to the green dot under the vowel oo, and let's read oob. Oob. One more time. Oob. Now you can read 5 different syllables. Let's work a little bit with our fingers. Remember that each one of your fingers is used to represent one vowel sound. Your thumb is used to represent the sound ah. Your index finger was used to represent the sound eh. Your middle finger represented the sound e. Your ring finger represented the sound o. And your pinky the sound oo. A, e, o, oo. Let's join the consonant B to each one of the vowels on your fingers. For your thumb, let's say ab, ab. For your index finger, let's say abe, abe. For your middle finger, let's say ebe, ebe. For your ring finger, we'll say ob, ob. And for your pinky, we'll say oob, oob. Now, practice with each finger. Ab, abe, ebe, ob, and oob. Now let's try something a little bit different. When we read, we look at letters and say their sounds. But spelling is reading backwards. When we spell, we hear sounds and then name the letters that make those sounds. Spelling is reading backwards. Now, use your fingers to help you spell the following sounds. Let's try it. Spell the syllable ab. Ab. What letters make the syllable ab? You should have said a and be. A and be make the syllable ab. Now, spell the syllable abe. Abe. What letters make the syllable abe? You should have said the letters A and B. A and B spell abe. How do you spell the syllable ebe? You should have said E and B. How about the syllable obe? How do you spell the syllable obe? You should have said O and B. And lastly, how do you spell the syllable oob? Oob. You should have said oo and be. Spelling is reading backwards. Let's read some syllables with the consonant first. Here, we're going to begin with the consonant be and finish with the vowel a. Remember, the consonant be makes the sound b, and the vowel a makes the sound ah. Point to the green dot under the consonant be, and let's read this syllable together. Ba. 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 Now let's read another syllable. Here, we're going to begin with the consonant be and finish with the vowel e. The consonant be makes the sound b, and the vowel e makes a. Point to the green dot under the consonant be, and let's read this syllable together. Be. 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 Let's read a syllable that begins with the consonant be and ends with the vowel e. Point to the green dot under the consonant be. Ready? B. 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 Let's read this consonant. It begins with the letter B and ends with the letter O. Point to the green dot under the letter B. Ready? Bo. 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 This will be our last syllable for this lesson. Let's read it together. We're going to start with the consonant be and end with the vowel oo. Point to the green dot under the consonant be. Ready? Boo, boo, boo. Let's work a little more with our fingers. We're going to put the consonant be before each of the vowels on our fingers. Wiggle your thumb and say ba, ba. Now, wiggle your index finger and say be, be. Wiggle your middle finger and say B, B. Wiggle your ring finger and say bo, bo. And lastly, wiggle your pinky and say boo, boo. Now practice with your fingers. Ba, be, bee, bo, boo. Maybe you can play the game we learned in our last lesson, mixing up the sounds and trying to remember which finger makes each sound. Let's practice some more spelling. Remember, spelling is just reading backwards. I'm going to say a syllable, and you tell me what letters make that syllable. Ready? How do you spell the syllable B? B. You should have said be. How do you spell the syllable boo? Boo. You should have said be-oo. How do you spell the syllable ba? Ba. You should have said be-ah. How do you spell the syllable bo? Bo. You should have said be-o. And lastly, how do you spell the syllable be? Be. You should have said be-e. Spelling is reading backwards. After this lesson, you've got some busy fingers to work with. You can say a, e, o, and oo. You can also say ab, eb, eb, ob, and oob. And lastly, you can say ba, be, bee, bo, and boo. Plus, you should know how to spell all of these syllables. Ab is spelled a-be. Abe is spelled E-B. Ebe is spelled E-B. Ob is spelled O-B. Oob is spelled Oo-B. Ba is spelled Be-A. Be is spelled Be-E. B is spelled Be. Bo is spelled Be-O. And lastly, boo is spelled Be-oo. You should be able to read these syllables and spell these syllables. We hope you've enjoyed this lesson in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy's Petty School reading program. We'll continue our study of language and reading in our next lesson. God bless.